Hi, this is George Weingeroff, and give me back my pro wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
For those who don't know, now you know, baby. This is Hot Rod Biggs, Jared, Jimmy Street. We're going to take them to the limit one more time, baby, right here on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, and I'm here as always with my brother from the same father and mother, the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street. What's up, Sheik? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, brother. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just, doing the thing. Had some fun stuff going on with the podcast. We have a great guest today, Mr. George Weingeroff, a shooter from way back. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, to steal something from, I guess, Taylor Swift, I think you and Wolfie are in your world-class era.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah, we definitely are. Working with Captain's Corner Nick, he's hooked us up with a lot of these world-class because he's got that upcoming signing down in Florida at the Rosen Center in Orlando. So if you're down that way around the 20th of April, make sure you stop by and see him and see all the stars of world-class, man. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, though, man. You get to hear a lot of stories and, didn't get to see a lot of world-class growing up, but I wish more of them had checked out the Iron Claw movie so I could actually hear what they actually think of it, like the actual movie. A lot of them have had, kind of negative opinions about it without actually having seen it.
Right.
I wish they would, I don't know, I kind of wish they'd watched it so we could hear.
Yeah. And I think
more what they think, but I know there was stuff left out, but
yeah, I think the one thing is you'll hear that in the Brian Adias episode. Actually, he did see it. He actually saw it with Kevin at the premiere.
That's cool though, at least.
Yeah. So, but you're right. But here's the tricky part with Captain's Corner Nick down there in Florida. They're one of the discussion panels they're on is talking about the Iron Claw. So,
well, that's what I figured it would be. I think I'd heard that in the advertisement. So
yeah. So we'll see, right? But it's not our problem. But yeah, I agree. I mean, it's still kind of embarrassing that I haven't seen it, but whatever,
It's just timing. A lot of times it was around Christmas and everything like that. So
yeah. It is, and I'll see it and I'll do a full report when I do. But yeah, I agree. But Brian had a really, good perspective on it. And y'all check out his episode. That is out now on Live and in Color with Wolfie D. It's a good episode. He's like a step Von Erich, like, Tracy and the Armstrongs. So very cool. Yeah. But yeah, man, today we've got another hit, man. We've got another great episode. I've been promoting this one for a few weeks now, but, George having different things happening with his health and stuff, and we wanted to make sure he was good before we got him on, and he's great, and man, I'm just excited to talk to him because really George is just he's done a lot. He's been everywhere. It's like a lot of our guests. He's done all these things, but he's also got the stories to tell, man. And the cool thing is with George, he's kind of like done all that, but he also has that connection with our Tennessee guys too,
Yeah.
So he's really the perfect guest, for us, so
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, before we get to George, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, right? Which is WrestleMania. The story was finished, right?
Absolutely, man. I thought they did a great job with the story.
Yeah.
You knew kind of, I mean, let's be honest, it wasn't a big secret that The Rock and Roman were going to win on Saturday night to make it bloodline rules. Basically,
right.
Anything goes. And because that way your conquering hero had more to overcome.
Right.
The cameos, I guess you'll say, were all pretty well timed out and all made sense. I was kind of hoping for Stone Cold, but you get Taker. I mean, how can you argue with Taker?
Right.
That cool moment, but just, to me, it would have made a little more sense because Stone Cold was such a big rival of The Rock, but maybe he didn't want to do it. So
maybe that's it. Yeah. Maybe that's it.
But Taker's never anything to sneeze about. So
no, and he was going to be there. And plus, I mean, the Stone Cold and The Rock could have been a little more even. The Undertaker could have gotten over on The Rock pretty quick, and then maybe then they would have had a match. But anyway, I thought you can't really question how. I guess you can, but our little brother Mason, was there, very cool, representing the podcast. Man, he's got
jealous.
He's definitely jealous. He's got a gimmick going right now. He represents the podcast at major pay-per-views now. So
yeah, we'll definitely take it.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it. Thank you, Mason, very much. That was very cool to see the words, us, whatever, the podcast in that arena with all those people, man. That's pretty crazy. That's
absolutely, yeah, man.
Very humbling, and thank you, Mason, for showing us off, man.
Next time, Mason, get the floor seats where those people kept putting up their cut out heads of themselves, I guess. Yes, do that one. You get that seat next time, Mason.
And then did you see the couple that was like there both nights or something? It was a man and a woman's head.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they were like.
I mean, can you imagine what they spent on those tickets? Like,
well, can you imagine what been like sitting behind them?
Oh my gosh, that would have been horrible. Like, yeah, we get it. You're on TV. Take it down.
We held it up for 10 minutes now. Put it down.
Yeah, just as all the things break out, like the Undertaker shows up and you miss it because that guy's got his head in the way. Yeah, that would be annoying. But yeah, I thought it was overall good. Sami Zayn and Gunther was a great match. A lot of title changes. They definitely hit the reset button on some things. I didn't expect to see Damian Priest, but I was thinking in my mind, if he's going to do it, he needs to do it soon, And
well, and honestly, it's great storytelling to me because you don't have CM Punk come right back and he's challenging McIntyre for the title, and then potentially beating McIntyre for the title. They can trade wins back and forth and everything like that before they have to worry about the title. And
right.
That gives Priest a little run. I don't expect Priest's run to be long. I could be wrong.
Right.
But I don't expect it to be long. McIntyre's been doing some of the best character work of his time, I think. I mean,
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if there's real beef with him and CM Punk, and that comes out in that, or if it's just all just that good. I mean, just real beef.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, just two dudes that are wanting the same goal, So yeah. I think people are predicting maybe Cody and Punk at next year's Mania, and then maybe The Rock and Roman. But you never know. Who knows? But I just didn't see a way that really Roman could blame The Rock for not making it happen. But maybe he could just simply say, "You said you're the final boss, and I'm the you're whatever." Yeah. But who knows?
I mean, Roman essentially cost himself the title when he focused on Seth with a chair, getting his revenge from the Shield days.
Right.
And, if he'd used the chair on Cody, you got to figure he'd have won. But
yeah. And if you guys are asking us why we don't cover AEW pay-per-views as much, it's because it's on Peacock. And
we pay Peacock, and we basically have what it would cost for one pay-per-view a year. If we had to buy every AEW pay-per-view,
exactly,
it would be a different story.
It would be, and it would be.
I would love to get AEW pay-per-views for this price. I mean,
amen. Yeah, maybe one day. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, I do think it's a smart model if you can work with a streamer that will make it work. But anyway, yeah, I think I give it. What would you say? What would you give the overall WrestleMania as a rating?
I'd give Night 2 a solid A plus, maybe. Night 1 probably a B. So if you're looking overall, probably A.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was like a B plus A for sure, But I mean, there really wasn't many bad spots. I just the Uso match didn't really do a lot for me, and
it should have done more. I think
it should have, but it didn't. And I don't know. I mean, I liked them better as a tag team, I guess.
Yeah,
we'll see. Agree. I don't know. Is the bloodline over now? Is it continuing on with more people?
Well, they're saying Jacob Fatu is signed with WWE now. I mean,
and Tama Tonga is too. So
yeah. So I mean, if those guys are coming in, I don't know.
Maybe there's some new blood to be in the bloodline.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, speaking of bloodline, we've got somebody who's got a very strong bloodline today. Of course, his father was Gentlemen Saul Weingeroff, and for sure the son and honestly lifelong friend of Lanny Poffo and Randy Savage. George Weingeroff, his own self, is on the show today, and I say let's take a quick break and get him on. What do you say to that?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtual Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your virtual pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life gets easier with great assists, and State Farm is here to dish one your way. Get in touch over the phone or on the app to get the teammate you need. State Farm with the assist. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability and eligibility vary by state.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Well, stop by Captain's Corner, where you can get autographed photos, cards, magazines, and figures from all of your favorite wrestling superstars of the past, present, and future. You'll also be able to participate in live signings in the weeks and months to come. Make sure to stop by Captain's Corner on Facebook and give us a holler. Remember, cheers to the working man.
All right, we are back with a very special guest today. And Jared, we're just hits after hits after hits. Today is one of my favorite people that I've known since I met him. And honestly, anybody who knows this name knows it goes way back in wrestling. But if anybody hears this name, they know one thing. That dude is a shooter. And today we have him on our show. And I'm shooting about that. is George Weingeroff. How are you, sir? Thank you for coming on.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Very pleasure. Cool. Our pleasure. Yeah,
very cool to have you on. So first off, before we get started.
Well, before you get started, can I give a little plug to my brother's website? It's called Memories of Gentlemen Saul Weingeroff.
Yes.
It's really, really good, and there's a lot of pictures and stories on it. It's Memories of Gentlemen Saul Weingeroff.
Okay. I love it. Herbie's doing it, right? Is that it?
Yeah, but you have to ask him to be a member, and then people post stuff on it.
Okay, very cool. Yeah,
I think you should go. It's really entertaining.
I will definitely do that. So we got that plug in, and let's go with this. How are you feeling, man? I know you had a little bit of health thing. Are you feeling good?
No, I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm all cleared for any activity.
Okay, so, even annoying podcast questions.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, all right.
Jimmy, I've got a lot of stories, and it's like I'm grateful that I can tell it to some people, because they're just going to go by the wayside if I don't.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's the best way to say that. Honestly, George, I appreciate that. So we always start every episode off with the first question, and that's coming from, ironically, the Plastic Sheik. So go ahead, Sheik, take it away.
All right, George. So you've been around this business, and your dad was in this business. But a question I always like to ask is, like if you had a Mount Rushmore, like 4 or 5 wrestlers that you just love to watch, or that made you love wrestling, or that you love to work with, whatever, who would those be? Like a Mount Rushmore, 4 or 5 guys.
Well, personally, I would start with Randy Savage, because he was such a good worker. He was a pleasure. He wasn't too loose. He wasn't too stiff. You didn't have to think. And I may have told you, Jimmy, before, I traveled. We started together, but that's another long story. But his philosophy was he wanted to have everybody's best match, whether it was a midget or it was Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
So he always, tried to give everybody a good match. And also another philosophy, he worked just as hard for a crowd with 50 people as 5,000 people. He says, they paid their money. They deserve a good match. Don't sit on your butt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was really good about that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome to hear, man. That makes you respect him even more hearing that from you.
Oh yeah, guy. If there's not a good crowd, they'll just lay down and they don't care,
right.
know. But that wasn't him.
Don't penalize the ones who came, right?
That's what he would say. He had a good attitude. He may have rubbed some people the wrong way, but he was good on a lot of things. I would have to say Ric Flair. I never worked with him. I was in dressing rooms, and I know a lot of people have negative things, but he was always a gentleman to me. He's the first one to come into the room and shake your hand, invite you out to do something, and he always remembered you. I thought and he was wearing a suit. He was always class.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the other one would be Ronnie Garvin. He had great ring presence. He got over just walking from the dressing room to the ring. You knew, that this guy was tough and somebody special.
Yeah.
You always felt like he could actually beat up the guy. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't just lollygagging to the ring, and you knew he was tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is that the ones you got? You got any? You got one?
There was. I like this guy, Gero Tenaru in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a big guy. I think he was second in the Olympics, but he was tough. He was good. Carried himself. I was really impressed. There might be some more. I'll just have to think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good list, though.
That's an incredible Mount Rushmore. Yeah. And thank you for letting us meet Ronnie that day with me and Wolfie. So that was awesome.
Right.
Yeah, definitely appreciate you doing that. So we always pivot to this, and this is really where I'm interested. And if we talk all day about this, I'm fine. So tell us about your younger days, where you were born, high school, amateur wrestling. Talk about the early days of George Weingeroff.
My dad was on the road, and I was born in Augusta, Georgia, and I grew up in Daytona Beach.
Okay.
And back then, my father he had boxed. He was in the Navy.
Okay.
He boxed, and he was a pitcher on a Navy baseball team, and he was on a boat during the Korean conflict, but he never, was in battle or anything.
Gotcha.
And my father, my grandparents came over from Russia through Germany, and they came through Ellis Island. And my father grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
And he had to quit school when he was in 8th grade to help make the family some money. And he worked for he was an apprentice for a man had a sign painting company. So he learned, from an early age how to be a sign painter. And that's where he made money. He started later on through the boxing. He was good friends with, have you ever heard of Angelo Dundee?
Oh yeah.
Ali's trainer. Yeah, he was good buddies with him. So, he boxed some professionally, and he then gradually he met some wrestlers, and that's how he got into the wrestling business.
Very cool. Very cool.
I grew up in Florida, so in this all reminded me. I watched the other night the Eddie Graham Dark Side of the Ring, or the Grahams. Have you seen that yet?
I have. Yeah, very sad. Yeah.
Well, my dad, he had they called the Beach Arena in Daytona Beach. And he opened up a sign shop in there, and then the main part of it, he had an arena. So he would run weekly shows, and he would contract the wrestlers through Cowboy Lettrell. He was the guy. They didn't even mention him before Eddie Graham. So he'd pay a booking fee to have them come. So I guess eventually Eddie, I think Cowboy fell ill, and Eddie bought him out and started. So my dad was a pretty big personality with Kurt and Carl von Bronner in Florida. Side story: my dad pulled an angle with Eddie Graham back in the day. You couldn't do it anymore. He and Eddie met on a downtown street, and they had a fight, and the police arrested him, and they unbelievable publicity on that, and they actually went to court, and the judge wasn't happy about it, but and my dad said, yeah, Eddie attacked him first, and Eddie said my Saul attacked him. I was on the side of the road. I think there's an article on it on that Memories of Gentlemen Saul. But they pulled a heck of an angle, and they made a lot of money off that.
That's awesome.
That stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'm about 10 years old. Eddie Graham had when I saw the show, it reminded me of Eddie Graham. He had it was called Eddie Graham's All-American Youth Camp. And, you could go for a week or two during the summer. And I went, and I had to kayfabe my name. I couldn't tell them, I had to come up with another last name. But it was so cool as a kid. We slept in a bunkhouse. We rode horses every day. We played archery. We went swimming. We went fishing.
That's awesome.
Then the highlight was, I don't know if you've heard of this guy, Coach John Heath. He would come in, and they had a pavilion with a wrestling mat, and he taught wrestling. So every day we'd have an hour or so of wrestling. So that was my first kind of introduction to amateur wrestling.
Yeah. And at this point, your dad's in the business, obviously. So are you liking pro wrestling as well as being an amateur?
Well, I'm just a mark, and I'm like, I know who Eddie Graham is, and he's the arch enemy and so forth. But I just played it cool.
Yeah, okay.
I remember Mike Graham coming around, but he would just turn 16, and he had a Jeep, an open air Jeep, and he'd come in flying in there. And he'd do circles and mess up the grounds. And I remember, I asked Coach Heath how come he wasn't here, and he said, the kid's spoiled. So I never met him. I just saw how he was at that time.
Yeah.
So I learned my first moves there.
Gotcha. Okay. And so obviously this is a very important part of your career, but also something that is just fact. So talk about how it was at that time, especially, in that era, growing up with a visual impairment, especially being such an incredible athlete that you are.
It wasn't long after my parents were divorced. So my dad finished his run, I think, with Eddie. He'd been back and forth. He had a good run in Texas with the Funks and so forth. So I would come up and visit my dad during the summers, and he had a house that was near the Tennessee School for the Blind.
Okay.
And he said, would you be interested? And I said, hell no, I'm not interested. I don't want anything to do with that. So he kind of let it go. So one day we're going by, and he said, it was in late July. It was hot. He said, let's go take a look. So we went in. We didn't think anybody was there. We walked down the hallway, and eventually it was the principal's office, and the principal and Ralph Brewer, who was a teacher and a wrestling coach, was there. So, they just jumped up and flipped when they saw my dad. And so the first thing Ralph did was took me over to the gym and put me on the scale to see what I weighed and where he could fit me in. So, I like his personality, and that's like Ralph was a former Tennessee State High School wrestling champ, and he wrestled at Auburn.
Okay.
So
okay.
I was very fortunate. This was when I was in 10th grade. So I was very fortunate because he knew a lot, and a lot of the other wrestling coaches in Nashville, they just didn't. So I got some really, really good coaching.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that got started.
And did your dad know that already? Like he foresaw that? It was like, he's going to like him, it's going to work out? Or was it just something he was shot in the dark?
It was a shot in the dark. We had no idea. But when I was wrestling in high school, I think I lost 2 matches in 3 years.
Wow.
But
wow.
And I actually got revenge on both of them. But my dad, he would miss work just to come to the dual meets. So we generally had him in the evenings, and we were drawing good crowds. We had a good team, and he was so proud, that his son was doing well in wrestling.
Yeah.
My very first match, we wrestled this school Maplewood in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it was so it was in the about 1:00. It was one of the school. They let everybody out to come to the wrestling match, or else you had to go to study hall. So there was probably 1,500 people or more in the gym. It's my very first match. I don't have a clue. So behind our chairs, our bench, is my dad and Tojo Yamamoto, and on the far side is Lou Thez and Lynn Rossi.
Wow.
And they've got newspaper people there. They've got a camera from one of the stations, because it was a big meet, and I'm like, wow. So I did win. I didn't know what I was doing, but my motivation was I wanted to make my father proud of me. I wanted to make my coach proud of me, and I just loved getting that handshake and way to go, son. So that really it motivated me for the right reasons.
No doubt.
So,
absolutely.
So I was able to overachieve.
Yeah.
Then I got a scholarship at UT Chattanooga. This would be bragging. I turned down about, Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Kentucky. I'm just trying to think, but my dad talked me into Chattanooga because it was close, and he could come watch.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That catapulted me into my amateur career, and then I got a teaching degree. I was a high school teacher for about 7 years and a wrestling coach, and you're not going to make any money. It was and I had wrestled part-time. The first day I graduated from college, I flew to Toledo to meet my dad, and I actually hooked up with Randy Savage. He had just got out of baseball. He'd been let go. So Randy and I hung out for the entire summer it was a great time. We would, we'd work out, we'd go to the gym, we'd go to the University of Toledo. Another guy had a key there, and we could work out, and we would mostly, we do amateur stuff, but we practice on how we would get in the ring, how you would take a bump, how you would carry yourself. So that was, and we weren't booked a lot. We were working for the Sheik. Randy probably weighed 160 pounds, but he was smart. He and his father told the Sheik that it was a $50 guarantee. He told them, he said, if you'll book me more, You just got to pay me $25. So he got booked more, but with the whole idea of he's going to get more experience.
Right, right. And to know Randy taking a pay cut is not really something he ever did much after that.
Well, it wasn't the money. He's living with his. It's just getting the experience. Where else you get it?
Right. I just meant he turned into an incredible businessman as well. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So George, take us back to college a little bit. Didn't you meet young Pez Watley there?
Yes, I did. Pez was a few years older than me, and Pez would always bug me and a few of the other guys about professional wrestling being not on the up and up. And he'd say, "Why don't you bring some of those guys down here?" And he just aggravated me to death. So, and I'd always say, "No, Pez, it's for real. Those guys were good." So I get teased. So quickly, a funny story. I got Pez hooked up with my dad, and he got trained, and he went to Oklahoma for his first little territory, and he was just gone a couple of months. So we got a big Southern Open wrestling tournament, and he just happened to come in the gym, and I was on deck for a match. So I'm with this little guy, Bill Burnside, who was Pez's buddy, and they used to bug the crap out of me, right?
Uh-huh.
So, Pez comes in, and Bill knows, Pez is going to tell him the truth now. "Oh, Pez, how you doing? You went on a tour for wrestling." He says, "Well, George is here, so tell us the truth. Is it fake?" And Pez winks at me and looks over. He says, "You know what, Bill?" He says, "George was telling the truth. It's real." Bill goes, "Damn it, you son of a bitch. Did you have to take the oath too?" I always remind Bill that you have to take the oath too.
Oh my God. Well, then what led you to the Special Olympics in wrestling?
I had taught a year up at the Indiana School for the Blind, and they would have national tournaments, and that was kind of a joke. And then they had a national tournament or a Special Olympics for the wrestling only visually impaired up in Toronto. So I went to that, and it was no big accomplishment. I'd wrestled tougher guys, So
yeah.
It looks good on paper.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
So tell us about like your first pro match, your first pro wrestling match.
Oh my God, this is a good story.
Yeah, that's what we want.
I'm 15 years old. My dad had smartened me up a week or so earlier, and I'm like, I can understand some of the guys. And I said, but I tell you what, Dad, Johnny Valentine, he's for real. I see him beat the shit out of him. He said, "No, damn it, he's working too." No. Have you ever seen Johnny Valentine?
Right.
You can't do any of the. So anyway, he sends me. You know who Ricky Morton is?
Of course, Ricky. One of my favorites.
Yeah, his dad was Paul Morton. They called him Bald Eagle. He used to pull the ring and referee and wrestle some. So I go down to this little town with Paul. I'm 15 years old. I helped him put up the ring. So it's a small gymnasium at elementary school, and it's in the middle of the summer, so it doesn't get. You'll see my point. It doesn't get dark until about 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Okay, yeah.
So there's only one bathroom, and it's that you got to go through the gym and down the hallway. So my dad gives me his outfit, and I've got a red mask on, right? Because I'm just a kid,
Right,
and it's,
right.
So, I'm nervous. I got to pee and everything. So my dad I get the outfit. And I had some boots. They're really high, almost to your knee. With you got to lace it up real high. So I got my boots finally on, and Scuffling Hillbillies were in there. And he was going to referee the first match because I was going to wrestle Paul. So they look over at me and they say, "Hey, kid, you've got your shoes on the wrong feet."
Oh, God.
Yeah, because they were saying, I didn't know, I'm nervous. I got to pee, and I can't go out with the mask on, So I start to unlace it, and ding, 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 the bell rings. So I went out there and Paul Morton with my shoes on the wrong feet. I didn't have a clue. Paul Morton's doing all kinds of stuff, and they're buying everything. And finally, I get to the dressing room and I take the mask off and I sneak out. And the point is, I couldn't sneak outside because it's still daylight.
Right.
Yeah. First, Ricky Morton loves that story. He had the shoes on the wrong feet.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I made $10.
Yeah. Okay. And who was that for?
Nick Goulas. But I didn't care.
Yeah.
So Corsica Joe, you ever heard that name?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
His wife, Sarah McKay, was the wrestler too. Anyway, she had a son that wrestled for another high school in Nashville, and she tells the coach, "Well, can you wrestle if you're only 15, and get paid?" So their coach goes and tells the State Athletic Association.
Oh man!
Yeah, so they write a letter and come. They wanted to suspend the school and me for a year.
Oh man!
Oh, my dad was so hot. So anyway, Nick Goulas said it was just an exhibition that I never got paid. So they bought that and they said, "Don't do it again." So that's my highlights of my first match.
That's a good story, man.
So
didn't have
promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Enjoy complimentary access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
So at 77, you're working for Goulas, and you actually work two guys that are very popular topics on our show during this little quick early run. You work Gypsy Joe, obviously, and you work Arvel Hutto, who's one of our favorite people, much like you are. You know, I would love to hear some stories, especially about those first matches, especially with Gypsy Joe.
I don't recall any of them. And I don't recall it, but I do have a good story with Gypsy Joe.
Please, yeah.
Gypsy Joe had a reputation for chopping hard and beating guys up, you know, especially on an independent show.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the year, but I'm lifting weights. I'm jacked up. I've been to Japan and all over. So I go to this show and I'm booked against Gypsy Joe.
Okay.
So all the guys come out of the dressing room. They want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. They want to, you know.
Yeah.
So Gypsy Joe treats me with kid gloves. They were so damn disappointed. I had a great match with him. They wait for a shoot. You know, they know how Gypsy was.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's the only I recall.
Wonder why he did that. Do you just think he just respected you, or was it just?
Yeah, he didn't. He knew he'd be in trouble if he started that with me.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Okay.
I sounds braggadocious, but it's the truth. You know?
At that point, you had built a reputation, and people kind of knew the deal. Yeah.
And plus he respected me and respected my work, so he wasn't going to try anything.
Yeah, that's funny.
Orville is a nice guy.
Yeah.
I met Orville and Bobby. And my dad would go with him to Huntsville, Alabama every Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Eaton and Orville were with a guy named Bobby D. They put up the ring, and that's where I met Orville, a little red-headed kid, and he and Bobby would always be there. And they tell the story that Bobby D would get him out of school and take him to spot shows to put up the ring. Orville was such a nice boy, you know, and he's a great human being. He's a great, and it's a shame he never got a break, but I think it was because of his body.
Gotcha. Okay. I've heard that maybe he wasn't as outgoing as you know.
Well, neither was Bobby.
Right.
But Bobby,
exactly.
Bobby got put in a situation, and he was a great worker. And I think Orville probably could have been, you know, but I remember a guy named Big Guy. Mosca was his last name. I can't.
Angelo? Was it?
Yeah, he come in with Ole Anderson to Birmingham one time and said, who am I working with? And they told him Orville Hutto. Who the hell is Orville Hutto? Who is this piece of... And I remember Randy laying, Orville Hutto is a nice human being, and you're a lucky big son of a bitch that you get to wrestle. I remember Randy let him have it over Orville.
Yeah.
So that's my story there.
Yeah, I'd heard that Mosca was a bit of a bully in some instances. So.
Oh, yeah. Randy let him have it. It was good.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's who Orville is. A nice human being, and he's doing a job for you, and you're just lucky, you know?
Dude, that's huge for Orville too, man, because, I mean, that's got to feel good for him to know that for sure. That's awesome.
Took up for him. Yeah, Randy liked Orville. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it looks like maybe around 78 or so, you went through Memphis. Were you just making the rounds, kind of, or were you just getting work?
I had during the summer. It was just a short run, and I went back to teach in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I wasn't ready. You know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I knew a little bit, but I wasn't ready. Gotcha. I didn't get ready until about, 79 or so. Randy, we were real good friends. He took me up to Lexington in ICW.
Yeah.
So started producing the TV tapes, and I got to work every night, and I worked with good, Randy, Bob Orton Jr., Pez was there, Ronnie Garvin.
Yeah.
There was a lot there's a lot of good workers, and I'm wrestling every night. Here's my first match with ICW. They let their tape run a little. We went to this little town called Sawyersville.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 people on the card. It's probably the only one ever. Me, Angelo, Randy, and Lanny.
Okay.
So I think I don't remember who I wrestled first.
Angelo, I think.
Yeah, and then come back in it, and then probably might have been Randy. So
okay,
and then,
okay.
And then they have another single, Lanny and Randy, and then we come back in a tag, right? So there's only like 3. So, it's not much of a card.
Right.
So Randy has this idea, says, well, you think you could beat some of these people here? And I said, yeah, I think I can. So we make an announcement. Anybody who wants to challenge me for 1 takedown.
Wow.
That's our 1 takedown. So Lanny refereed, and he made them take their belts off and check, if they had anything on them. So we just went a takedown, and I beat all 5 of them. It's like it wasn't a big. Randy gave me $100. Yeah. It made the crowd happy. That was the first match.
That's wild. And I mean, you don't know who you're going to get.
No, but I figured I could take them down real quick, and then of course go again. But no, next.
Right.
I first came up there. Randy couldn't wait for me to cut. Him and Rip were going to this gym in Lexington, and the manager there was bugging him, about wrestling being fake, and he wanted to wrestle them, to see what they could do, and they kept playing him off, and the guy he'd wrestled in college a little bit, University of Kentucky. So I came up there. Randy says, well, here's a new guy. He doesn't know a whole lot. Well, if you want, you can wrestle him. So I took him down and rubbed his face in the ground or the carpet, and he had Matt Burns, and that was the end of that. He was so happy I took up for it. I remember that well.
That's awesome. I mean, what did overall, this is just a general question, but overall, what did the Poffos really mean to you?
Lanny and I were good friends. Lanny was completely different in the fact that he wasn't dangerous. He was just a nice, happy-go-lucky guy. Wasn't a problem.
Smooth as silk, smooth as silk.
Just a nice guy, and he really kind of disliked his brother and his father because they kind of ruined his life, and he would tell you they just dominated him. He was getting a little push in Portland, and they made him come back. He always kind of reminded him, to help him. I got along with Randy for the most part. Angelo was just. Well, what happened with the TV? In my recollection, he's just the TV station is your star.
Yeah.
So I said, we need to be bringing these guys Christmas, a bottle of wine or something, some liquor, just being nice to him. But he'd argue, you're wasting too much time. We had 2 hours and it might take longer and they might charge us more. And finally he come around with a stopwatch trying to time things, and I'm like, Angelo, we can't do that. Oh yeah, we can. So he got mad and he says he's going to produce his own show, so he buys some lights and a camera, that's a reason. There's a reason you do it in the studio, it's a lot better. So it went downhill and I kind of had enough, I knew it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about some of these names because, you did have an incredible tag team with Lanny Poffo. And I know you work with him later in Mid-South and some other places.
They meant a lot. That they were all good teachers, and they taught me about the business. So my first big territory with Bill Watts is, I knew what to do and how to wrestle. I remember DiBiase coming to me and said, "Man, you can work. Welcome." You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're happy to see you,
Yeah.
So there's a few names here, Doug Vines and Jeff Sword, you guys working them.
Well, Randy was pissed at me because I went to Louisiana and I was buddies with Ernie Ladd. He was doing the booking.
Okay.
And he asked me about some talent, and I told him that Jeff and Doug were good workers. You'd like to have them. And so I ended up getting them booked and coming to Louisiana. So Randy was pissed. He said, you stole my talent. He was, you're on the Weingeroff clique, you left.
Yeah.
I'll throw this at you. So he made threats that he was going to beat my ass whenever he met me, for stealing his talent. And, it really I wasn't trying to steal. I was trying to help those guys because they were starving,
Right.
And Doug Vines made $1,000 his first week and he didn't know what to think, and that's money.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I'm from Daytona Beach. So I was there, and I didn't even know WCW was having a pay-per-view, and I'm at a nice hotel at the beach, and they had the pay-per-view, and I'm in the bar, and it's crowded, and some of the wrestlers were there, and Steve McMichael comes over to the bar where I'm at, and I said, I'd never met Elizabeth. I knew who she was, that Randy had met her at the gym. He started his relationship with her after I left.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, I got Lanny booked in Louisiana too.
Right.
So McMichael says, "Well, why don't you grow some balls, go over there and talk to her and drink?" I said, "Okay." So I go at the table with Bischoff, and they can see me coming, so they're turning their heads, here comes a mark.
Right.
I said, "Hi, Elizabeth. My name's George Weingeroff." She jumped up and hugged me and everything. That's the first time I really was introduced. She said, "Randy is upstairs showering, he's about to come down." I said, "You can call him if you want." And I said, "No, I'll wait for him. He's going to beat me up, right?"
Right, exactly.
So he comes in the bar, and I confront him. I said, "Well, do you want to bury the hatchet, or do you want to fight right now?" He said, "Oh, no, man, I'm cool. So that was it. But we never kindled our relationship too much,
Right, right.
He's gone. So I was ready. That would have been one of his lines. "Are you ready to fight, or do you want to bury the hatchet?" "No, man, I'm cool.
Like, that's my line, man. Yeah. So, and what about, before we get away from ICW too far, because I want us to do an entire show about ICW sometime, and of course you're welcome to be on that. But who was Radamias? Well, explain to me what that is, or who that is.
How his last name? He was a real nice guy from Kansas City, and the Poffos liked him, and they asked him to come, and they wanted to use him. And he wasn't making no money; he was just basically doing jobs in Kansas City for a long time. So
Gotcha.
they made this kind of monster. And he was, he was really ready. He couldn't do a whole lot. So they pushed it, and basically it might have drawn some before he started wrestling. Dang, I can't think of his name. But he was his wife was friends with Judy Poffo, and they really got soured. They
Gotcha.
Soured, and they totally left.
Gotcha.
Howard,
Okay.
what a nice guy he was.
Yeah.
See, nobody knew him. There's no internet, and you could be in Kansas City and come somewhere else and nobody know who you are. That's what they can paint his face up, and nobody knew who he was. It's like you you have no idea.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Very cool.
And they got mad. Ronnie Garvin worked. Ronnie didn't dislike him, but if you don't fight back with Ronnie, he will eat you up. You got to fight back. And so, you killed him, Ronnie. You know, we're trying to make this guy, and you just ate him up. And, I remember that.
That's great.
Yeah, Doug Vine said Ronnie used to always beat me up. He said, but I fought back one time and he sold then. You just got to fight back.
Yeah. It's like those Japanese guys when you first get there, right? You fight back and they know. Yeah.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Want to live better? We got a lot of work to do. Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live Better Now. I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek. Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live Better Now. Streaming August 15th on Disney Plus and Hulu. It's showtime.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
This is Kroll, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling with Jimmy Street and Jarrett the Plastic Sheik. Be sure to like, subscribe, and view all of our USWO and Saul Wrestling content at Nashville Wrestling Network, exclusively on YouTube.
So in '83, looks like you go to Mid-South. How was working for Bill Watts?
I love Bill. Was a good payoff guy. You made money. He was having sellouts everywhere. The boys were happy. He had a lot of strict rules, but I think they were good. You know, you had to be in the dressing room an hour before. You had to wear a shirt with a collar, have your pants, shirt tucked in, and the only person who could wear jeans was Doug, and it was his gimmick. But
right.
I thought he was great. I loved Bill. He liked me. I called him to get booked, and I told him about my background, and he booked me right away. I did some shooting for him. He had guys who come to his office and want to be wrestlers, so he said, "Oh, okay. I'll let you wrestle one of the underneath guys." So after the match, everybody be gone. He'd get in the ring and referee, and I'd stretch the guy. Bill liked me.
Did any of those guys stick around?
Which guys is that?
The guys you would stretch.
Yeah. Oh, I remember one of them. He had a manager, and the guy's trying to pull on his arm, trying to get him out of the ring. He's begging to leave, and I pulled off his shoes and his pants and everything. And they ran the heck out of there. It was cool because all the boys stayed after, the Road Warriors, Ricky Morton, Jimmy Garvin. They was all watching in the background to see what the stuff was going to happen.
Eric Watts told me and Wolfie about how he would be like, well, you couldn't even beat my janitor, and he would have somebody dressed up as a janitor, and he would, tear him apart. So did you get involved, or was you just saying here's one of my underneath guys, try him out?
Right. I'm not going to put you in with the Junkyard Dog because that wouldn't be fair. I'm going to put you in. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you got to work some great names there. Tim Horner, Rip Rogers. I know that's a million funny stories with you, but Boris Zukov, one of my favorite guys.
Boris, what a nice human being
he really is. Yeah.
And Jim Nelson, that's his name.
Right. He's technically my wrestling grandfather because he trained the guy who brought me in the business. So, but anyway, I love Boris.
If you ever see him, tell him I said hello.
I will.
Real nice.
Yeah, I'll shoot you his number if you want to. So, and I know you helped train a very young Barry Dorso during this time, right?
Well, I can't really take. Barry was with the Road Warriors with Sharky.
Right. Just kind of seasoned him.
Well, yeah, he got smartened him up. He didn't know a whole lot. I remember having a TV match with him, and he had these little shorts on. He was Man Mountain Darso, and he had me laughing. We got in the ring, and this first man, somebody said, "Where'd you get them shorts at Sears?" George, I did. Was a human being. A real good guy. I trained for Grizzly Smith, Mike Smith, who was Sam Houston.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I thought Sam is never going to make it. He's horrible. He's unathletic. But I guess the light bulb turned on one day.
Yeah.
Had to be a good worker. The other guy was coming with him was. Did you know Dewey Robinson, the missing link?
The missing link. Yes.
I'm with him, Jason. Jason was small, but he was very athletic, and he probably could have made it. He'd have made it today, in those cruiserweights. But he wasn't going to watch his territory. But what an athletic kid he was.
Okay, yeah. Did he ever do anything further at all? Or
no, not that I know.
Gotcha.
Dewey Robinson, what a character he was.
Oh, no doubt. What an original character, too, man. Golly. Yeah. And he lived the gimmick, right? From what I understand.
I think he kind of was. He was out of it, I like him. And his wife, Gail. He never drove. Wife always drove everywhere. He said, well, she's part of the team. I wrestle and she has to drive.
There's one team that shows up here in your history that I really am excited to talk about because you tagged with guys, Art Cruz. You even tagged with your old partner, Lanny, against a very young Midnight Express, Dennis and Bobby. Talk about the...
Everybody loved to work with Bobby, and it was a night off. You didn't have to think. They give you a good match. It was just, they were super.
Yeah.
Magnum TA he was always excited about. Oh, I get to work with Bobby and Dennis. It's so easy.
Yeah.
That's another. Magnum came in when I did, and he had come from Florida.
Yeah.
I probably saw the show on him. But I remember him coming in, and he worked a few weeks, and we're on an airplane going somewhere. I'm sitting with him, and he says, well, this is my last week here. They gave me a notice. Ernie was through with him. He didn't have anything for him, so he was busy trying to call Barry Windham and get booked back in Florida.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, a few days later, Watts said, well, maybe we can do something with him. And that's when he teamed him up with Wrestling 2. So Wrestling 2 was like his mentor.
Right.
So he was, so that they didn't say any of that in the thing that he had been let go. So that's how he got his first break.
Yeah.
So, good.
Yeah, he's great. We had him on the show very early on, and he talked about that. And you've told this funny story before, George, about how him breaking in with Buzz, and he told us he paid him $10,000, and it's pretty crazy. But I think it was a little more than that.
That wasn't the story I remember him telling me. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so. My mind's but he told me that I recall that Buzz met him somewhere in a bar and told him not to talk to any of the other boys, and he would get him booked. Boys lead him down the runway. He came to his house. He wanted $25,000. So Terry told me that his parents put a second mortgage on the house.
Man.
Paid him, and then so I used to tease Terry. Said, "You paid more money than anybody ever to get in the business, but you're going to get your money back."
Yeah, he will. He did.
You're one of the lucky ones, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that can't go unsaid. I mean, he did make the money back, but so many guys don't. Yeah.
And he was a Virginia State High School wrestling champ. I remember Lanny was always trying to try him and stuff in the dressing room, but he never. I never wrestled him. You know what I mean? He just was. Yeah. He didn't want to go a takedown. Neither one of us were sure. And his wife Tamra then was real good friends with my wife Rita.
Okay.
He had bought Tamra with him from Florida, and he had a little apartment, and he had a little teeny sports car. It wasn't a new one, a little white one, and he couldn't. He had to ride with other people because it only had 2 seats.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's
yeah. He was at a park bus with Ricky and Robert.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And he had no money or nothing. You know, he was just starting out.
Yeah.
Let me tell my quick story with wrestling.
Yeah, please. Go. Yeah.
Wrestling 2 was working a program with Jim Neidhart. So Jim's not real flexible. So Jim was doing jobs for him, and to finish what, he'd roll him up. You know, push him in and roll him up. And then 2 would sit on him and hurt him because he wasn't flexible. And he told them, don't do that shit anymore, right? And so they had the last match was in Oklahoma City, and he did it to him again. And Jim thinks he did it because he knew it was the last match. You know, when lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, we're in Lafayette, Louisiana, and Jim says, watch this. He goes out there. I think he told 2 to grab a headlock and duck the elbow or something. He comes off. Neidhart just nails him and knocks him out cold. And my brother was refereeing it, so he had to go 1, 2, 3, and it took him a while to get him up. Wrestling 2 come back to the dressing room. He grabbed his stuff and got in his car and left. He was not going to say anything to Jim.
Jim was a big...
Yeah, Jim was a big power lifter.
And he was a discus thrower in college?
Yeah.
Shot put. Okay.
I'm not sure which one, but Jim was a friggin' stud. And I'd have to tell Jim, loosen up. And he didn't know he was hurting you, but what I saw, he was very articulate. He was smarter than you think. You know, he kept up with news and everything. He was
funny guy too, right?
I got to get back. I'm sidetracking, but I was in Florida with him and Barry Darso, and they were teaming up. And I was there when Eddie Graham killed himself.
Oh man!
Rick Rude and I went to Orlando for a show, and then when we got there, they told him that he had shot himself. But anyway, there was no money. They weren't drawing anything. It was dead. So they were on what they thought, and it was $800 a week guarantee. Yeah. So they come in. They tell me the story. They tell Eddie, we can't stay. You know, we need more money, and we're going. Jim's going somewhere else, and Barry's going to Minnesota. And he said, all of a sudden, Eddie started crying. Said, no, you can't leave me. You know, I mean, I'll take care of you later. He said he was crying like a baby. So they look at each other and they said, okay, they'll stay. The other stories you can't forget. Eddie was a great worker.
Yeah.
And he puts his arm around me and he says, hey, kid, I'd like to make you some money. Will you bleach your hair blonde? Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Man, what a legend in the business that guy was. Golly, man.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at USWApodcast.com.
That's right, it's the talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jimmy Street, and that was episode 11 of the Best of James Rock Street Productions, with the first half of episode 58 of George Weingeroff on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. The son of the legendary Gentlemen Saul Weingeroff, George is a great person and storyteller. His legacy in the business is undeniable, and I enjoy conversations with him every time it happens. To hear more of George and many others, you can hear the full episode over on @GMBMPW or Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, wherever you listen to podcasts, or simply click the link in the notes below. We hope you've enjoyed a look back in the archives of James Rock Street Productions. Check us out next week to see what else we have in store. Until then, follow @GMBMPW and @JamesRockStreet everywhere. Peace.
With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life.
This has been a James Rock Street production.